What's up, everyone? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. Today, we're talking college football Week 9 doubleheader conference USA on Wednesday night. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you've done that, thank you very much. It does help us quite a bit. We're also brought to you by Bet365, and they have a deal for those of you in Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, Louisiana, Indiana, Arizona, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. What you'll do is click the link below, make your first deposit, bet $5 on any game, side, totally, it doesn't matter. Whether it wins or loses, they're giving you $200 extra in the form of bonus bets on top of what that original wager was. You must be 21 or older to play, 18 in Kentucky. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But take advantage of these. They're not going to be around forever. So when you get the chance for the bonus bets, the extra money in your account, you need to do it. All right. Conference USA, they're giving us a special one tonight, a doubleheader. I don't know what to say. The Tuesday doubleheader is much better than this. And Tuesday is riddled with QB injuries. But anyway, we move forward. Liberty takes on Kennesaw State. That is where we are going to begin. Liberty is a 24.5-point favorite. The total in this game is sitting around 46. I mean, let's start with Kennesaw and get this team out of the way because, if Liberty wants to win this game by 24.5 points, if they want to win this game by 34.5 points, they should be able to. Liberty has a pretty bad cover margin when you start getting into blowouts. The Jamie Chadwell experience generally when they're up by multiple scores in the fourth quarter is run, punt. And then backdoors are live for their opponents quite often. So that scares me. But I don't know if Kennesaw State scores a single point in this game. Their offense is absolutely and utterly atrocious. They've switched QBs. I don't know which one they're going to start in this game, but first up, it's been Davis Bryson. He has 6 turnover-worthy plays, 0 big-time throws, 5.5 yards per attempt, barely above a 51% completion percentage. He didn't even play in their last game. They benched him and decided to go to Caleb Johnson. Somehow, despite playing, 50 snaps this year, he's already accounted for the same amount of turnover-worthy plays, 6 of them and 0 big-time throws. He got benched in their last game, and we saw Braden Bohannon. I mean, at least he has 0 turnover-worthy plays, but he only threw 10 passes. The sample's just not long enough on him. But, if you're Braden Bohannon and you couldn't beat out Caleb Johnson or Davis Bryson, I mean, how good do we really expect him to be? It's not all their fault either. Would they be better in a better situation? I don't know. Pressure rate is 26.5%. This team is 132nd in pass blocking. They're 117th in run blocking. They lost their best player on offense, Gabriel Benyard, already this year. It was supposed to be a minor injury, and he's been out for, 4 weeks now. Their defense is horrible. They're down 2 starters. Barron Hobson missed their last game at linebacker. Wandarian Silas at defensive tackle missed their last game. So I don't think this team really stops anybody. And you look at their resume so far this year, I mean, they don't have a win for a reason. They lost to an FCS team. But they actually had a somewhat close game against Jacksonville State, 63-24. You look and you see 24 points on the board. Jacksonville State handed them almost all of those points via turnovers and special teams blunders. Middle Tennessee beat them 14-5. This team had a safety and they scored 5 points in the game. Their offense is just absolutely and utterly atrocious. They've been above 16 points once this year, and it was because of the Jacksonville State turnovers and special teams blunders. Liberty on the other side, I don't think has quite lived up to expectations, but this is still a very strong team, by far the favorite in this conference preseason. And their games have been closer than expected. 6-point margin of victory over New Mexico State is pretty bad. Beat UTEP 28-10, East Carolina 35-24. They just fired their coach, and then they beat FIU by 7 points. So it's a lot of really close games for them. Obviously, they had the App State game canceled. You can't do anything about that. But you go back preseason and just even last year, most of this team is the same. They still have Salter back, Quinton Cooley's there. Receiver's not exactly a strength, but they did get Julian Gray back to practice. He was one of their big transfer acquisitions. I don't know if he plays in this game or not, but he is at least practicing. And I don't think it really matters. You should be able to just run the ball down Kennesaw's throat regardless. I mean, the strength of Kennesaw, if you want to call it one, is their defense. But, I mean, you can kind of pick your poison here. They're still 69th in run D, not good, not bad. They're 100th in pass rush. They don't generate any of that, and 51st in coverage. I think some of that is because teams don't need to throw on them. They're so bad. Ultimately, the thing I kind of like the most is the under in this game, which is terrifying because you would not be surprised to see Liberty maybe drop 46 on their own. But pace is horrible in this game. Kennesaw State is 125th. Liberty is 95th. Liberty has a long history of taking their foot off the gas. It just literally might be the backups for Liberty can still score on Kennesaw. One extra wrinkle, and we mentioned, Kennesaw getting some special teams breaks, some defensive breaks. Liberty is 127th in special teams. Kennesaw is 95th. That kind of adds some volatility that I don't really love. Like kicking is a problem for both teams, but short fields could also be a problem to the total too. I don't know if I'm going to play this, but my first inclination is under the total. I realize I'm not even on the total screen, so excuse me, friends. I was on the line the whole time. Let's see where this is at currently. Okay, it's going down. There's a rogue 46.5 out there. I think that's fine. I'm not sure if I'll end up playing it. But let's go to our second game, which is at least semi-interesting. It's Middle Tennessee State taking on Jacksonville State. It's another huge spread. 20.5 points. This has come down. Middle Tennessee opened around 22, and it's kind of been bet down at this point. The total is much higher, so at least this should be exciting. It's a 63.5 total in the game, as you can see on the screen. That's kind of consensus. It's actually come up in a lot of spots. There's a 64.5 on FanDuel. DraftKings hanging the same number. So, yeah, points to be expected. We'll get into that, but let's check where the spread is currently. Saw it had dipped below 21, and it's bouncing all over the place, it seems. No real consensus, but 20.5 is the most consistent number. Getting into this game, we have Jacksonville State off the bye. They've been pretty impressive. We mentioned, some of their points allowed, at least in their most recent game, were a bit fluky, in my opinion. They absolutely demolished New Mexico State. Prior to that, demolished Southern Miss. They lost to Eastern Michigan, but they did have a 65% post-game win expectancy. And prior to that, they lost to Coastal Carolina. That's their biggest blip on the radar. But it's been an up-and-down season, but a pretty good one as far as Conference USA goes. Tyler Huff is a dynamic rusher at quarterback. We know he's not giving you a ton through the air. It's actually been better than I anticipated. 67% completion, 9.3 yards per attempt. The real hang-up here is it's 7 turnover-worthy plays, only 2 big-time throws. But I think you'll live with that considering he's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. O-line here is a bit of a concern, but, certainly better than most of the teams we've talked about in Conference USA. 114th pass blocking, 71st run blocking. They're a tricky offense to prepare for because of how quick they want to play. You got a great running game. And all of that should find success against Middle Tennessee, who on defense is 126th and 105th against the run. Now, they're also 128th in pass rush, 121st in pass coverage. This team is absolutely hemorrhaging production to basically everyone they've faced this year. They, did just play Kennesaw State, which I guess is the best they've looked all year, but 11.6 yards per attempt to Evan Bullock of Louisiana Tech, over 10 yards per attempt to Malik Murphy of Duke, Caden Veltkamp of Western Kentucky, and certainly Jackson Dart. You're not going to stop him. It's been a pretty rough run-on for this Middle Tennessee State team, and they've had so many injuries. I don't know who's going to be back for this team, but here's just a slew of people that have been out recently. On defense, Devin Curtis at linebacker, Deshaun Elder at linebacker, Alex Williams on the edge, Amarian Bailey, who's a depth linebacker. They've had multiple DBs in and out of the lineup, some of them more depth pieces, but it's definitely hurt them. On offense, they've been without their wide receiver one, Javonte Sherman, and their offensive line has been an absolute revolving door, and a lot of players have missed time. Julius Pierce at center, 2 of their tackles, Morgan Scott, Jason Bodeford. More have missed time, but have returned, and you can see that they're 134th in pass blocking, 125th in run blocking. So can Jacksonville State stop them? Their defense is 93rd, 97th against the run, 65th in coverage. That's at least positive. They have one good metric. But this team has shown some weaknesses at times. Their quarterback slate has been much easier. They face Davis Bryson, a common opponent here in Kennesaw. John White for Southern Miss, who's the backup. Cole Snyder for Eastern Michigan. And then Tyler Shugg and Ethan Vasco. And some of their points allowed have been like the fluky stuff. I don't know if this team actually is, completely incompetent on defense. And I think they might just be a step above Middle Tennessee at every place in this game. Pace isn't bad. It's 12th for Jacksonville State, 75th for Middle Tennessee. I'm toying with a Jacksonville State now that this has come down. We've seen them absolutely bury teams like this on offense. Again, they scored 54 against New Mexico State, 63 against Kennesaw, 44 against Southern Miss, 34 against Eastern Michigan. The only blip was the Coastal Carolina game to start the year. And Tyler Huff didn't start that game. They started Logan Smothers. So perhaps they've hit their stride. But two leans right now. I don't know if I'm going to end up playing either of these. Vastly prefer the Tuesday night slate. But if you force me to pick, right now it would be Jacksonville State minus a 20.5 and an under in Liberty Kennesaw. I will let you guys know if I play that. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, far more exciting games. Betting Gear is already out for Saturday. A lot of awesome games we talked about, myself and Ben Ross. It's available on this channel. If you have any comments, things I missed, please let me know below. If you have any questions, my DMs are open on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Until next time, good luck, everyone. We will see you again later.